So good morning everyone. So nice to have you all here. And couples counseling, I think in today's time is very much needed. Every day we are getting news reports, tragic reports of incidents happening where either the girls or the boys are victimized or in some kind of a conflict. So let's try to understand, if not to find a solution to the problem, let's try to understand the dynamics of the situation and try to implement this in our daily lives, right? So, couples counseling is an essential field within psychology that focuses on the dynamics of intimate relationships. So, while a couple's relationship is traditionally seen as a commitment built on trust, love, companionship, conflicts and misunderstandings are inevitable in any relationship. So, the success of a relationship depends, as we know, not on the absence of conflict, but on how conflicts are actually managed and resolved. Right? So, many factors contribute to relationship strain, including communication breakdown.
Can you put the slide?
Sure. So many factors contribute to relationship strain, as we know, including communication breakdowns, which is the most important thing, financial stress, infidelity, unresolved past trauma, and differences in expectations. So whenever a couple are getting into a relationship, there are expectations on both sides, and like we heard Principal Sir say that once the expectations are not fulfilled, then disappointment sets in, and then there is the stage is set for conflict. So therapists help couples navigate these challenges by providing strategies for effective communication, emotional regulation, and conflict resolution. So in psychology, we have different types of coping. We have problem-focused coping, we have emotion-focused coping. As some of us already know, problem-focused coping is when we are trying to find a solution to the problem. Emotion-focused is when we are trying to change our emotional reactions to a stressor. So therapy plays a crucial role in preventing separation and divorce. Firstly, primary prevention, try to prevent separation and divorce, and if that's not possible, then try to help individuals who are going through separation and divorce get through the difficult times successfully. So the impact of separation generally extends beyond the couple, as we know that extended families, children, extended social networks are also impacted, right, by the separation of a couple. So the couples counseling needs to take into consideration, firstly, the problems between the couple, but also needs to consider third-party influences, such as in-laws, extended social networks, community, etc. So understanding the patterns of interaction in the relationship is crucial for identifying potential areas of conflict and determining how a couple handles stress and differences. So there are certain stages where couples need to go through the exploration phase, which is stage 1. Stage 2 is the understanding phase, and stage 3 is the action phase. Right? So what is done under exploration? The steps under it are intake and assessment. Usually this can be either a general assessment of the problems the couple is experiencing, or it can also be detailed where necessary. It includes initial exploration, formation of a therapeutic alliance. As we know, therapeutic alliance is very essential in counseling of any kind, for that matter, right? Ongoing examination of the presenting problem, trying to understand the root causes of the problem can help us to help couples. Right. So the details of the exploration phase helps in specifying or crystallizing the help that clients want with their problems. We need to help clients define their own problems identify the root causes, then the duration that the problem has persisted, the precipitating and aggravating factors. So we all know that for couples we can have triggers. Those triggers can be internal or external, right? External can be any third-party interference or any kind of financial or personal social issues. Then we have current major life issues, how the partners interact, the interaction patterns, the couple's social and cultural context. This plays a very important role. The social and cultural milieu in which the couple has gotten married, their family structure, social structures, each partner's physical and mental health both now and in the past. So each partner's family experience, ongoing legal proceedings, other helpers or agencies involved, significant interaction patterns between the couple, and significant third-party influences. Okay, so stage 2 is understanding, that is, particular patterns and struggles that a couple are having can be illuminated in partly looking back to earlier relationships and how they were experienced. So one of the logic or philosophies in psychology is that past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. So looking back at the history of the couple's past relationships with family, friends, or past romantic relationships can give us a very good idea about the roadblocks, either the strengths or the weaknesses that the parties bring into this couple's relationship. It is believed that couples conform to certain patterns do so not only out of conscious choice, but also due to past experiences, where many attitudes, feelings, and behaviors have not been examined but taken as routine. So many attitudes, feelings, all of these are internalized due to social and cultural norms, and they have not been questioned, they have been just taken as the gospel truth, because everybody is saying so we should follow it. But we should remember that every relationship is unique, and bringing such generic cultural norms and customs into these relationships may not always be conducive to effective relationship functioning. Second, in stage 2, we come to understanding wherein notions of what behavior is acceptable and unacceptable, what roles are proper and improper, what emotions are to be welcomed or avoided, would have been part of the unexamined aspects which are at the unconscious level. So that's why couples go for premarital counseling these days, so that they have a clear definition of what is acceptable and unacceptable. So many cases we are seeing in the news also of domestic violence leading to suicides on the part of girls. These days we are getting many such reports, dowry harassment, mental torture, etc. So we need to make clear in the counseling what behaviors on both sides are acceptable and unacceptable. So stage 3 is action stage. For many clients, an understanding of their problem is enough and they are able to modify their behavior appropriately. Others need to engage actively in new behaviors to consolidate the understanding and to allow change to take place. So this third stage of counseling is concerned with the action that will be taken as a result of the understanding gained by the counselor and the clients in the previous stages. Some of these actions are for the clients to use in order to begin to develop a new way of looking at themselves and their relationships. So in cognitive behavior therapy, we are just restructuring their perspective, thoughts, beliefs, replacing those with more accurate, realistic thoughts and beliefs. And sometimes we are also using role playing to help clients to actually enact their relationship patterns. Okay, so other actions represent new ways of interacting in which the active interventions sessions are aimed at encouraging clients to see how the present reality differs from their assumptions about it. This in turn allows them to form a more objective and agreed view of the situation. They are thus able to channelize their energies into creating new patterns of relating, which takes objectively the factors that exist in the present situation instead of just glossing over it. So, clients are encouraged to construct their reality in a more different way, in a logical way, and to not allow their preconceived notions based on cultural or social values to influence their relationship behaviors and dynamics. So some of the techniques used in this phase firstly are communication, teaching them better communication strategies. Next is something known as genogram, and the third strategy is something known as sculpting. So first let's target communication. When a relationship has become problematic and partners have become distant from one another, it is clear that there is a communication problem. Sometimes due to egos or other issues, we stop communicating effectively with our partners, right? That's an issue. The encouragement of active communication is an extremely effective way by which this problem can be reversed. And each partner can be encouraged to begin to re-engage with the other and re-examine the unconscious preconceptions which have replaced active interaction. So now what is a genogram? This is basically a diagram which represents the family of the couple in the form of a tree, right? A family tree of each member of the couple. This diagram includes the partners of the couple, their siblings, previous relationships, right, and their children. On this family tree, significant events and interactions are also presented. So, what do we actually do by the use of this genogram? What is the benefit? A careful and sympathetic exploration of the genogram with clients allows them to take account of attitudes, experiences, and beliefs since birth. And they get to know how these have influenced their understanding of the present situation in ways of which they are not consciously aware. So the genogram helps them to bring to their conscious mind those experiences, beliefs, attitudes that have influenced them at a subconscious level since childhood, but which they have not consciously really logically analyzed, right? Next, the third strategy for improving relationship dynamics is sculpting. This is a further development of the genogram, which allows a visual representation of a family system to be made using simple objects such as stones, coins, or buttons. It is the client's choice as to how to represent particular individuals and how to depict their closeness or distance from one another. This technique provides a powerful visual tool for representing the situation as well as assumptions of which they were previously unaware, right? So you use some kind of stones or buttons, etc. to show the distance between family members, to show each member of the couple to whom they are really dependent, whom they trust, either one of their mothers, brothers, sisters, etc. So this technique is also remarkably effective in allowing clients to see the difference between their perception of the situation and their partner's perception of the same situation. So let's come to now a technique known as transactional analysis. In particular, the ego state model from transactional analysis allows clients to distinguish between their tendencies to act as a child or as an adult or as a parent, right? So they say that in each one of us, one of these states is more dominant. The child and parent roles are both linked to the client's past Whereas the adult role is entirely concerned with dealing with the present reality. This technique encourages clients to distinguish between what is part of the present situation and what actually preceded it, right? Summarizing involves basically just summarizing the themes and reflecting back what has been said to help clarify some of the issues that are at odds with one another. Whenever the clients are speaking of their issues, make sure that you summarize it and repeat it back to them. It encourages them to thoughtfully challenge each other. It also encourages the couple to question the strong family belief that sometimes is not acknowledged by either of them, right? So introducing unacknowledged feelings, sometimes either member of the couple is not willing to accept their feeling towards the other member. The counselor may well become aware of a feeling that the clients may be actually denying. Simply sharing the feelings in the room and assuming that the counselor judges it to be close enough to the client's consciousness to be meaningful to them may help the clients gain new insights. So when clients are doubtful or they're ambiguous about their own feelings, it's a good idea to bring it to their notice, right? Next is pointing out the discrepancies. When there is a discrepancy between verbal and non-verbal language between the couple, and this is pointed out, it helps in a big way, right? This is so because neither of the partners may even be aware that they are behaving in that manner. Clients may say they are angry, but they may smile as they say it, or conversely verbalize something benign in a different tone. So this discrepancy between their verbal behavior and their non-verbal body language, tone of voice should be pointed out to them. Next is challenging the clients for action. The aim of challenging is to focus on discrepancies in thoughts, feelings and behaviors that become apparent during the exploring and understanding stages. Most important of the techniques is to have the trust of the clients before challenging them for action. So, depending on the specific problem the couple is experiencing, they may go for cognitive behavioral therapy, or we may go for gestalt therapy. It all depends on tailoring our therapy to suit the needs of the clients, basically. It's not one size fits all kind of rule. Okay. So this was a brief introduction into the exploring, understanding and action stages, along with some of the strategies for couple counseling, right? Which include communication enhancing strategies, genogram and sculpting. So at this stage I would like to conclude and hope you found this lecture meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We now open the floor for the question and answer session. Anyone with any questions, kindly please raise your hand. Any questions from the audience? Any questions from the audience?
Ma'am, can you please explain genogram, ma'am? You have mentioned that past relationships in the... Yes. So, what can we discuss?
So in the genogram, we firstly see the previous relationships, the family trees basically.
Only family or extra?
Family and the previous relationships as well. So we can see that if there was a history of domestic violence with a previous partner, probably that can spill over to the future because the triggers for this person can really make him violent, right? Emotionally abusive, physically abusive, etc. This is just an example about how we can predict from the past to the future.
So how do we deal with unacceptable behavior?
First, we should make the person acknowledge it, that this is acceptable and this is unacceptable. So accepting the reality will help them to actually think about it and change their ways of behaving, right? Hopefully.
Can you please elaborate on this?
So sculpting is you use stones, coins or buttons to show the closeness or the distance between various family members, right? So if somebody is putting their mother as very close, one of the partners, it shows that they trust the mother more than the partner. This helps them to get a perception of whom they trust and
So how it will be helpful? How are the couple come?
it will help the person themselves to understand how they are probably neglecting their own partner but trusting a third party. It will help them to see their own closeness of relationships, which will help them to probably give more importance to their partner than others.
Then in that sense, that you said that mother is close to them. Then how can we take forward for this sculpting in the
So we should make the person understand that they need to balance between the mother and the wife. It cannot be just one-sided, right? So it's all about cognitive therapy. You use these techniques to kind of restructure their thought patterns.
A person who is having non-acceptable behavior, maybe alcoholic, maybe domestic violence, doesn't he already know that his behavior is unacceptable?
Probably in his social schema, I mean, whatever cognitive schema he's got, it is acceptable to a certain extent, or he's not able to change it. So, for these reasons, we need to have highly specialized services for each behavioral issue or problem. Right?
How do we just now you mentioned the mother will be more acceptable or close or the partner. So with adults and partners, how do we say that
Like, for example, we try to bring it to their notice who is more close to that person, right?
how do we say that the close person will have to use this material and definition?
Basically, it's just a kind of visual representation in which we are showing who is. Yeah. We are using basically a visual representation to show, okay, this is the person says, this is my mother, this is my wife, this is my brother, sister. So we are making them come to understand their own, how they are perceiving people, how close they are perceiving certain people, and at a certain distance we can think that they're not really feeling close to that person. Right?